What you just need to understand is that we do live in an inflationary environment now. It's likely to persist for at least 10 years or until we address the problem seriously. And therefore, what people need to do to protect themselves is to invest in or buy or be exposed to things that the government can't inflate. And the best one is Bitcoin. The second best one is gold. So, that's really kind of the easy, summary bottom line. There's a lot more behind that. And by the way, how we get from here to there, it's going to be messy. I mean, Bitcoin could go to 140. It could come back to 70. I mean, these are volatile assets. And, history shows in changing monetary systems like what we're going through right now, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to have conviction because there will be volatility.
The crypto market is teetering on the edge of chaos, and what comes next could be nothing short of explosive. Bitcoin recently plunged to a shocking low of $77,000 before making a modest rebound above $80,000, but don't be fooled, the market remains fragile. With mounting recession fears and a massive sell-off triggered by Mt. Gox moving over 11,000 BTC, the storm is just beginning. Veteran financial expert Lawrence Lepard sees this uncertainty as a defining moment. He believes Bitcoin is a crucial hedge against inflation but warns that extreme volatility lies ahead. While Bitcoin has the potential to hit new all-time highs, it could just as easily crash back to $70,000. This level of turbulence won't be easy for every investor to endure, and the sell-off isn't confined to crypto alone. Global markets are feeling the pressure. With risk assets plunging and the Nasdaq entering correction territory, fears of a recession are intensifying. Bitcoin's close correlation with U.S. stocks suggests that if equity markets continue to struggle, crypto's recovery could face serious roadblocks. The big question now is, where is the market heading, and how can investors navigate these unpredictable times?
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
I'm not sure if the Oman stuff has been made public or not, but maybe it has. I think the Saudi Arabia stuff has not been made public, but the word I was getting was that these other countries in the Middle East, countries with enormous wealth, were beginning to embrace Bitcoin as a form of digital gold, and they were stacking, and that they were actually there to, among other things, ask Trump's son and Manafort, hey, we're thinking of doing more of this. We're thinking of announcing it. And I was told by the Policy Institute guys that the U.S. response back was, yeah, it's all great. We're very supportive, but just don't jump in front of us. Let us do our thing first, and then go ahead and announce it. So, as I say, to me, that's just huge. I mean, there's trillions of dollars in these countries, and and they've traditionally been sound money countries. I mean, the Arab culture loves gold, the precursor to Bitcoin. And so if they're now learning to make the jump from being investors in gold to investors in Bitcoin, that's a really big deal, in my opinion. So I couldn't have been more bulled up coming out of the conference. And you always hear these things, and then you wait and see, well, is it really going to happen, right? Is Trump really going to deliver? Are we going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve? And then there were some disappointing things with the Trump coin, the Melania coin, and all the other shit coins getting put into another, bucket. But at the end of the day, he came through. And although they have not announced plans to buy a lot, they've announced that they're intending to buy if they can do it in a revenue neutral way. And they've said they're not going to sell. And, and then the Loomis bill today, as you probably saw, has picked up some additional sponsors. And so, I mean, this is how it happens, right? Slowly but surely. The consensus grows that this is the asset to own. There's obviously more work that needs to be done, but it's a big win. Let's face it. I mean, it could, it'd be nice to have it enacted through legislation so that if we have Team Blue winning in 4 years, they can't undo it, right?
Right.
But I think, even Team Blue, has caught some heat because, I mean, didn't they sell almost an equal number of coins? And, they left $17 billion on the table as a result of selling those at much lower prices. So I feel like, we've got knowledge now at the highest levels of the U.S. government that this is an important strategic asset to hold. And that's a big deal. And so now every other country in the world has to focus on, if this becomes the neutral reserve currency, and anyone who studies what's going on knows that we need a neutral reserve currency as a result of Triffin's dilemma, they might start asking, well, and many of them, by the way, have bet on gold. We know China, for example, has bet hugely on gold, has a lot more gold than they say they have. based on the import-export data. And so, they're going to have to sit there and say to themselves, gee, are we making the right bet? Because this is digital gold and it's better than gold in many respects. And, this is Saylor's point, which is, we should sell all our gold and use it to buy Bitcoin, which I, generally speaking, kind of agree with. But I don't think we're there yet. And then again, there's some debate as to how much gold we really have. And I find it interesting. Trump said, he's going to go audit Fort Knox. I hope he does. I hope he finds it's there. I'm a little worried that, that might be an empty promise. I'm not sure they're going to like what they find, but that's another bridge they got to cross. But look, this is a step along the way. And my sense is there'll need to be more steps. They need to find revenue neutral ways to grow the reserve. I think the minute they start growing it, that'll be another big step. And I think they will grow it. I think they know that they need to have a higher Bitcoin price to help them, because stable coins, which are a small piece of the overall Bitcoin network today, not insignificant, but smaller, are big buyers of treasury bills. And guess what? The U.S. has a lot of treasury bills to sell. And so if the Bitcoin price goes higher and stablecoin market gets bigger, and then those stablecoins need to buy treasury bills, well, that's all good for the U.S. government. So, and Besant knows that. They from back channels and what I've heard, they get it. And so this is really, really positive. And now, does it manifest in the price immediately? No, the price is down right now. I mean, it's like so many Wall Street things, it's kind of buy the rumor and sell the news. And, we bought the rumor, got to 106. And of course, now the news is getting sold. And, I think it's more what's going on right now. I think it's more actually liquidity driven, just that, the world is kind of turning risk off on the overall stock market because the economy appears to be rolling over, and all these tariffs and all the things Trump has made it clear he's going to disrupt things. He's going to break things, as necessary. And one could argue that he's trying to break the stock market in order to help the bond market, because they've got a lot of debt to roll over, and it's a problem. So it's an interesting time. I'll tell you that. I mean, there's going to be more going on in this monetary stuff the next 5 years than there has been in the last 20. We're really in for a lot of change, in my opinion.
Lawrence Lepard uncovers a major shift in global finance as wealthy Middle Eastern nations, long known for their gold investments, begin embracing Bitcoin as digital gold. Countries like Saudi Arabia are quietly accumulating Bitcoin, positioning themselves at the forefront of this financial revolution. Lepard is highly optimistic about this transformation, emphasizing Bitcoin's potential as a neutral reserve currency. With U.S. leaders also exploring Bitcoin's strategic value, the next 5 years could bring more change to the financial world than the past 2 decades combined. He also examines the evolving U.S. economic landscape, particularly how Trump's shifting stance on Bitcoin could reshape global finance. Initially skeptical, Trump was eventually convinced by his advisors to view Bitcoin as a strategic advantage, especially in competition with China. As economic challenges mount, his administration is considering Bitcoin's role in maintaining financial dominance while addressing trade imbalances and reviving U.S. manufacturing. With the dollar weakening and monetary instability increasing, Lepard believes Bitcoin is poised to thrive. As the Federal Reserve is forced to print more money, Bitcoin's appeal as an unprintable, scarce asset grows stronger. In times of financial uncertainty, Bitcoin could become the top choice for preserving wealth. Let's dive deeper with more clips from the interview.
I think the SBR, they signed it because they wanted to signal that that we were going to be a leader in the crypto area. I mean, one thing that's great about the way Trump was managed into this, you recall 3 years ago, Trump hated Bitcoin, didn't really understand it. And honestly, to this day, I don't think he completely understands it, but I'm sure his advisors do. But I think what's going on here is that, he wanted to keep his promises to this group. I mean, I thought it was extremely positive, obviously, to let Ross go as he had promised. And he's a competitive guy. And I think the people who sold it to him, in my view, very smartly said, look, this is a race with China, and we don't want to let them get ahead. And he doesn't like to lose. And so that's my guess as to why he did it. I'm not sure he fully understands all the implications. I mean, I'm not sure anyone really fully understands the implications. I mean, if they do what Saylor is talking about doing, which is sell the gold used to buy Bitcoin, I mean, this is really, really a massive devaluation of the dollar. There've been mixed signals coming out of this administration. I mean, Besant has said, we want the dollar to remain the world's reserve currency, but then he's also said we need a weaker dollar, in order to balance trade. And so So those two things are slightly in contrast, don't go together. But I think, the world has been unbalanced massively because of the strong dollar policy and because of the financialization of the United States. And Bassett said something else I thought was very, very indicative of where they're going. And that is, Wall Street's done extremely well for the past 20 years and Main Street hasn't done so well. And, it's Wall Street that drives the stock market. And, the people who voted Trump in, a lot of them don't own stocks. They're the working class and they don't necessarily have enough capital to own stocks. So if the stock market goes down, that's not going to hurt them that much per se, except insofar as it then turns into a recession and they start losing their jobs. So, the problem is it's all interconnected and the whole economy has been built upon, cheap money and puffing up asset values. And I think, they want to try and reverse that process, but I think the word I used earlier, it's going to be disruptive. It's going to be hard. And they've even come out and said that. And I think Bassett also said that, it's very clear that to the degree they're going to be disruptive, they should do it right up front. Because in 2 years, the voters get another say. And in 4 years, they get another big say on, what team is going to be running the country. And so if you're going to have trouble, if you break things right now, one can argue, or he can make an argument that, hey, Biden left us with a pile of shit and we're doing the best we can given what we were left. And hopefully then things will be looking better as the 4 years rolls around so that JD will have a chance to win. So, there's a lot of interesting cross currents going on, but they know that we have to weaken the dollar to balance trade and really to kind of reshore manufacturing here. I mean, another, related part of all this is, it became very clear in this war that, we couldn't even build the shells we needed to supply the Ukraine for the war. And, manufacturing in the U.S. has been hollowed out, and that's got to change. And the way for that to change is a weaker dollar, so that we basically bring manufacturing back here and it's competitive. Now, the thing that I think most people aren't talking about, including Trump, is that tariffs and a weaker dollar also will result in domestic inflation, more domestic inflation. But hopefully, if it's domestic inflation, but everyone's fully employed, then, the two will balance out and there'll be wage growth for those who are the workers. And, the people who will not do as well are the people who hold bonds or the Wall Street people who've made all their money off financialization. So I think that's kind of the big picture, what they're trying to do. My partner describes, I have a partner at Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, David Foley, said, this is brain surgery. I mean, it's going to be really hard. And, we don't really know exactly how it's going to unfold. But I think one conclusion I draw is that almost no matter how it unfolds, it's good for Bitcoin because, it's likely to lead to some more monetary chaos. And this was the point of my book, which was that really all forms of monetary chaos, ultimately force the Federal Reserve into using the only tool they have, the only hammer they really know, which is print. So, they're going to, when things get rough, the market falls enough, the bond market, has an upheaval, enough people are laid off, people are crying for stimmy checks, whatever it might be, the solution will somehow be to print the money to solve it versus letting a complete depression unfold and the complete collapse of the system. And therefore, that printing will be inflationary, and therefore in an inflationary environment, you want to hold assets the government can't print. And the two premier assets in that category, in that bucket, are Bitcoin and gold, in that order, with Bitcoin being better than gold, but they're both unprintable. You can't print gold. So, although they have paper gold, but in general, you can't print real gold.
As Bitcoin weathers ongoing market fluctuations, the recent dip in U.S. inflation might seem like a positive sign. However, this decline has fueled concerns over the intensifying U.S. trade war, dampening investor confidence in high-risk assets like Bitcoin. While inflation appears to ease, Bitcoin remains in a holding pattern, with traders bracing for more volatility. Experts warn that the combination of economic uncertainty, rising geopolitical tensions, and trade-related fears could hinder any significant Bitcoin surge in the near term. Lawrence Lepard reinforces this cautious outlook, emphasizing that Bitcoin thrives in times of monetary disorder. As global economies shift and inflationary pressures persist, he highlights Bitcoin's unique role as a scarce, unprintable asset, standing in stark contrast to traditional currencies, which central banks can manipulate at will. The current market stagnation, he argues, exposes deeper vulnerabilities in the U.S. economy, signaling an inevitable transition away from dollar dependency toward alternative assets like Bitcoin. Lepard warns that the U.S. is entering a disruptive era, with ongoing trade conflicts and the looming threat of Federal Reserve intervention through increased money printing. Bitcoin's lack of reaction to positive inflation data underscores its deep connection to broader financial shift. As central banks adjust policies and geopolitical tensions rise, Bitcoin's role as a safe haven asset becomes more apparent, reinforcing Lepard's assertion that it is well positioned for long-term value preservation amid financial instability. Do you think Bitcoin can truly act as a hedge against economic uncertainty? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.